Okay. Okay, so I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Danielle, and
I'm
this is
Phia or
all
Sophia.
right. We are going to discuss a video we watched. It's called Park Avenue, Money, Power, and the American Dream. It shows how the wealth gap, um, how big it is in the United States. It focuses on the extremely rich of Park Avenue, many of whom their money influences politics, and it compares their lives to people living in poverty just a few miles away across the bridge on the other side of Park Avenue in the Bronx. The film's big point is that the system is stacked in favor of the richest Americans, making the American dream feeling almost impossible for everyone else to achieve. And so that's what we're going to talk about. One of the policies that they created.
Yes. So, what were your initial thoughts about the video in general?
I was actually shocked because I didn't, like I said before, I have not followed politics that much, which I should. And I was shocked by a lot of the stuff that's been going on, and I didn't even realize it. Um,
I was also really
and
shocked. I was shocked
yeah,
that because I was shocked that it was made 12 years ago because it really does pertain to like the stuff that's going on now, and the fact that it
yeah,
was made so long ago really shows that we've been dealing with this stuff for like so long.
a really long time.
Hmm.
And a lot of the stuff that they talked about, like the food stamps, um, I feel like we're seeing it now because they're talking about getting rid of Medicaid and food stamps now. They're talking about it,
Yeah.
and it's shocking to me. So,
I agree. Um, it's also crazy, in my opinion, what shocked me is so here, let's talk about um the Path to Prosperity by Chairman Ryan. I think one thing that shocked me by him is that he was so young, or like he was young looking and talking about
mhm,
these like absurd and crazy like um policies to make the rich richer and the poor poorer, and he wasn't really like sugarcoating it. And then I think we
mm.
should also talk about like the book that he referenced his policy after, Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. I was a
Oh
little bit,
yes.
yeah, I was a little bit confused on like what the premise of the book was about and like what he was referencing his policy after. Do you?
Well, I remember seeing that they made a movie about it, and it was like they were trying to make it seem like we didn't want to get rid of, the wealthy because we needed them, and that's not the case. Like they're saying that if we got rid of the wealthy and their money, that we wouldn't be able to survive without them. Is I feel like was what the book and the movie was about.
That made sense because in the video
The
they do
girl that was
describe,
the girl that was screaming, she was like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "No, that's not how I would react if we lost them. No,
yeah,
and
I
their money."
agree. But yeah, they were saying that it was told in like a horror story perspective that like
Hmm.
the like poor would like fall apart if the rich were
Right,
to die, which is
right.
crazy. Um,
Hmm.
it's also crazy. I looked up Anne Rand to see how to spell her name, and I realized that she's like a Russian American writer from like the 50s or 60s, I think. And it's crazy knowing that um she she like immigrated here from America, and she wasn't like born here from America, and she just like
Yeah.
she like realized all this stuff as she was living here. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was a crazy premise, and the fact that it's such a dystopian movie, but like a real life politician based one of his policies after such a dystopian movie is honestly
Yeah,
really crazy.
I think so too. I was like, I would I would not watch that movie. I would disagree. I would go, nope, nope,
Yeah, I
disagree the
would
whole
be too
time.
upset.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, this is not how I would react. I would
Mhm.
not be sad if they stopped, using their money to get their way. So,
Yeah. So, um, what has been, or what do you think about Chairman Ryan's path to prosperity? Um, because for me, well, again, I was one shocked by how young he looked and how he was proclaiming this policy or bill or whatever. And I was honestly shocked at the stuff that he was saying because he wasn't really sugarcoating like his policy, and it was really affirming to the rich, but like to the poor, it looked very like bad. But it's still crazy that like now it still is in play, and like it still is going on that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer.
yeah.
Because I remember in the video they said that like in the 1960s it was like CEOs were making like 20 times more than the average
Hmm.
worker. And like in 2011, when around this documentary was made, they were making like 231 times more, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot. I'm like, how? Why?
Exactly.
And then they're like, don't tax us as much. Make them pay more. I'm like, no, that doesn't seem fair at all.
I
But
agree.
the and then the one thing that I didn't like was his proposal to cut food stamps. And the reason is because from when I was on my own until just recently, I graduated as a nurse and now I don't have to rely on it, but I did rely a lot on food stamps. And I probably would not be where I am today if I didn't have that. I'd be struggling. So I do not like his path to prosperity in cutting out what I needed to help me succeed.
I
I
agree.
would I didn't agree with that at all.
It's crazy that it has been a fighting debate between the rich and the poor about getting rid of Medicaid and getting rid of food stamps for, I would say, like over a decade or so now since this video was made, and it's still like a huge thing, and it's still a huge risk that food stamps and Medicaid is going to be taken away because of like the current administration.
Hmm.
But the things that he was saying was really crazy because he was saying that he well, he kind of was sugarcoating his policy a little bit because he was saying that he wanted, like, he thinks that everybody should have an equal amount, like they would have, like, people would have money, as much money as like CEOs and rich people if they just worked harder, but like neglecting to like acknowledge the fact that that these CEOs and rich people are at an advantage versus people who are like not as well advantaged and not as well off and like uneducated because they grew up in poverty and stuff like that.
Right. And even I didn't grow up in poverty, but I've hit a low. Like as an adult, I hit a low time in my life and I relied on that help and it helped me get to middle class, like back up to middle class when I
Mhm.
dropped down. But if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be succeeding. I would be struggling even more, even though I work my butt off. They say, work harder. I am working harder, but I don't have all the resources and probably the family dynamic of being wealthy, the background. I don't have that to rely on. So it's just me working for myself, making myself, you know, work harder and I struggled but now I'm doing good. But I would never, even if I got rich, I would never be one to be like, oh, I'm rich now, the poor, and change my views. I would never do that. I would probably be one to want to help everybody.
I agree. I've always heard this term circulating around that like once you are older and you start paying like your bills and your finances and you really become established in your job and whatnot, then you become more
Hmm.
conservative and more like I guess like capitalistic and more like money hungry, which
Hmm.
I feel like in today's society in America is a huge thing that like runs politics. Like what they said in the video, they said in the video that, money talks, which is true for like a lot of the politicians who are in power. But it's good that you don't that if you were to have as much money as those CEOs and rich people that you would not turn to, being like I would assume what is that word like? I would say like posh, but like a better word than
Hmm.
posh.
Uh-huh. I know what you're saying. Um, when you were talking, I remembered, I can't remember which one, who the person was, but he was doing an interview and he was talking about how he gave a lot of money to someone, and they asked him, well, what kind of stuff did y'all talk about? And he goes, that's only for me to know. Do you remember when he said that? And it's like he doesn't want them to know that he probably said, here's, millions of dollars, make this a policy for me because I'm
That's
giving you
what
this money.
that's what also
That's
shocked me.
insane.
It's really insane. 'Cause it like when I watched that part of the video, it like made me realize how like why Trump is president and how all these policies are in play right now. And it's because of the money. Like I was shocked, but I wasn't surprised that politicians pay or like get sponsored by CEOs and like rich people in order to
Mhm.
like up political gain and such. Like that's crazy, but it's it's like not very surprising though.
Yeah. I feel like everyone should get a say, but no, you got the money, you get the say.
It's not really democracy,
Yeah.
like underlyingly. But yeah, and then I wanted to talk about the US Congress of Catholic Bishops. They also spoke out against Chairman Ryan, and they spoke out against him like in person. I saw in the videos that they like were like kind of not like paparazzi, but they like found him at like a
Oh,
park.
when he was trying to get into his car.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was like
Yeah.
asking about like the morals of like the things that Chairman Ryan has been doing. I don't know
Hmm.
his first name. Wait, what is Chairman Ryan's first name?
Paul?
Paul.
I
Paul
think it's
Ryan.
Paul
Okay.
Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, the video was talking about how the US Congress of Catholic Bishops had urged Congress to protect food stamps. Um, and probably many other stuff, which reminds
Yeah.
me of what we have been learning about in the book. And it's like that is like a claims maker. And I would give to reason that like commissions that was talked about in chapter 9 would be um the CEO, like politicians commission like CEOs and like people who live in Park Avenue to like sponsor them
Hmm.
so they can get political gain.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so with all that, how do you see the connection to the book?
Um, just as what they were talking about how uh like the policies that are being made by these like people who are very well off,
Hmm.
it's shown from the video and from what was explained in the chapter 9 of the book.
Yeah. Um, what I was going to say about it is, uh, it's one of those things where they make a policy thinking that they're going to fix the budget, but then they're just actually creating a bigger problem that's going to be more expensive down the road.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Wait, what is that called?
Yeah.
Hold on. I have to
You're
think.
like, there's a name for it.
I remember from the chapter quiz. Hold on. Ironic consequences. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, exactly. Yep. Consequences. Here we go. Ironic consequences.
Yeah, it's when one reason a policy might be deemed a failure despite its initial intentions, and it's when
That's right.
the policy is made to help, but like the problem gets worse.
Yep. Yep. That makes sense. That is
Hmm.
exactly.
Which I agree. I feel
Yep.
like in a way that is what Paul Ryan's policy is kind of like.
Mm-hmm.